Why radical? We build race cars. We race iconic tracks. We set lap records. We build friendships.
3, 4, 1.
We create champions. We make racers.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Sonoma Raceway. This is the final day of competition for the 2024 Radical Cup North America Series. I'm Tom Drewer, and we're just about to go racing here, the second race of 3 for the Radical Cup North America Series. It's been a long season. It all started back in Florida. Let's take a look at the first round. The first weekend of the Radical Cup North America season for 2024 has just wrapped up, and what a weekend it was. Competition has gone to the next level this year in all 3 classes, and huge grids here at Sebring, 32 cars taking part this weekend. In Pro 1340, Chris McMurray with a clean sweep, but look out because Seth Bacon, and perhaps more importantly, a young kid, Maya Dionorine, 14 years of age, nipping at the heels of some of the more storied radical racers in Pro 1340. It was a very impressive debut from him. In the 1500 class, Nick D'Orlando looked very, very fast all weekend. He wasn't able to take the win. All 3 went to Jordan Missig, an outstanding return to the Radical Series after running in the USF. Danny Dashelski, another USF competitor, coming home with a number of podium positions, including second in the final race. Evan Slater picking up a 3rd position, and D'Orlando also sharing that spot in the podium as well. It was a wild weekend for Graham Rahal Performance, an amazing debut in Pro 1500 for them. And in the Platinum class, it was the John and Clint Field show all weekend long. They were on top. Final bragging rights to Clint Field. We'll see how that unplays with the reigning champion John Field all year. Wayne Williams coming home with a podium as well. Louis Schreiber, impressive, as was Greg Gorski. It's been an amazing start to the season here at Sebring. We're off to Barber with IndyCar next. Then it's Road America, Laguna Seca, and the streets of Toronto before we wrap up at Sonoma, the Radical Cup for 2024. This is going to be a wild one. The championship stayed in the South for the second round, and it was Alabama that played host to round 2 of the Radical Cup.
This is the moment we waited for. Everything you want is right here. We gon' give them what they came for. We gon' take it up from last year. Shoot on my shot, boy, I'm long range. Me and the team on the same thing. Stayed down, never switched up. Only thing changed was the game. I'm in the zone now. Nothing can change what we on now. When I pull up, know it's going down. Foot on the gas, ain't no slowing down. Aiming for greatness, no settling in. Kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Taking no else, yeah, I gotta win. Watch me kick down the doors, they won't let me in. Who running the game now?
That's a wrap on Radical Cup's first weekend of 4 this year with IndyCar here at Barber Motorsports Park. What a weekend it's been. Pro 1340 seen PJ Hyatt for Rhino Racing with Team Stradale come in and clean everyone's clock. Well, at least for 2 races out of 3. he shared the podium with Suelo Almeida, Blake McGovern, and Chris McMurray's also been in the mix all weekend long. In Pro 1500, a clean sweep for Graham Rahal Performance, Jordan Missig taking 1 win, Nick D'Orlando taking 2. We saw Danny Dashelski on the podium, Evan Slater and Raiden Nicol taking a podium in his debut in the series. Platinum class, and it was the John Field show for 1 race, but Mackay Stevens, 2 wins here this weekend. Clintfield with a podium, and Louis Schreiber making amends in race 3. What a weekend it was here at Barber Motorsports Park. We'll catch you next time at Road America. And Barber was indeed the first of 4 rounds this year for the Radical Cup with IndyCar. And then it was up to Wisconsin for an action-packed weekend. What a weekend here at Road America. Radical Cup with the biggest grid of all the series here at the IndyCar weekend. 3 races in the books. The weather played a bit of a role in race 2, but luckily 3 races, lots of action from Radical Cup North America. In the end, Suelo Almeida taking a clean sweep in Pro 1340. What a weekend it was for him. Big shout out to Mayor Dionorine for a great run from him. In 1500, it looked like Graham Rahal Performance would continue their run of wins this year, but it wasn't to be. After 2 wins for Nick D'Orlando, Group A's Jack Yang came through with a breakthrough win. Outstanding performance for him. He actually qualified on pole, showed tremendous pace in race 1 as well. It finally came together in race 3 for the Platinum class. It was all about the fields. John Field, then Clint Field. Finally, John Field with another win in race 3. What a weekend of action from the Radical Cup, presented by McDonald's. We'll see you next time at Laguna Seca. And of course, after that, we were in the sunny skies of California for Laguna Seca. Then it was Toronto. We'll catch up and recap that action before this afternoon's final race of the championship. But as you can see, the cars are already rolling out onto the circuit. Suspect 2 pace laps again. We'll go through the grid. On the 15th row, we are expecting Jim Booth to be a part of this one. Ben Blander and Arul Venkatesh should take part from the 14th row of the grid. Kenny Nail will start from 26 alongside Chris Hinojosa, who joins us for the first time this weekend. Alex Fisher will start from the 12th row of the grid alongside Amit Patel. Mike Anzaldi will start from position 22 alongside Ron Fletcher. Bob Mueller, another one to join us this weekend. Great to see so many fresh faces in the series for the final round of the championship. He'll start in position 20 alongside Suelo Almeida, who is our points leader, still in Pro 1340, and I'll get to that in just a moment. Mac McMurray will start from the 9th row of the grid alongside Corey Nouveau. Spencer Schmidt will start from position 16 alongside Jack Yang. And look out for that battle between Nouveau and Yang for the gold class honours in Pro 1500. Chris McMurray had a great day yesterday. He had a win and closed in on the points with Suelo Almeida. He'll start from 14th on the grid alongside the pole man, Anders Fjordbach, who was quickest of them all yet again. In Pro 1340, it's been a stellar performance, his debut in the season and the championship this weekend. Wayne Williams will start from the 6th row of the grid alongside Greg Gorski. Matt Roma will start alongside his father. Plenty of father and sons. And Matt will be starting from 6th, Chip in 5th. Nick D'Orlando will start from position 8 alongside Jordan Missig, who of course took a fantastic win in yesterday's race. But it was Evan Slater who was fastest. He'll start from the 3rd row of the grid alongside Louis Schreiber, and Slater was on the pole in Pro 1500 for this one. Clint Field will start alongside Steve Jenks. John Field shares the front row of the grid for Mackay Stevens. They have only done one pace lap. I'm glad I got through all of that. And Mackay Stevens is lining up to take the start alongside John Field. We'll see who can get the break. A bit of a lock-up further back in the pack as the back markers try and catch the field. We've got a green flag here at Sonoma Raceway. And Mackay Stevens again has taken a great start. So too further back was that blue car of Nick D'Orlando, who's managed to get around Wayne Williams. And so far so good. There's been a spin though. And we're just waiting to see who that is. But someone has had a big moment there at the top of the hill. It looks like a rear wing has been folded down and more drama, and there's cars in the midst of that. That looks like Greg Gorski getting caught up in that. Wayne Williams with the hands up in the air. And so again, whilst drivers have got through 3 and 4, or 1 and 2 I should say, 3 and 4, causing an altercation here, and you can see drivers further back trying to regain, getting back on the track. But a number of drivers out of this one already. And the temperature has certainly been rising. Wayne Williams is just reversing back. Hopefully he can get going again. Greg Gorski with a bit more damage, it looks like, to the front right. And then Mackay Stevens still in command of this race from John Field. And then we're looking back to see who leads Pro 1500 unscathed. Is Jordan Missig. So too is Evan Slater. Steve Jenks sits third in the Platinum class from Louis Schreiber. D'Orlando is okay as well. So too with Matt Roma. So D'Orlando is third, I believe, in Pro 1500. So we've lost, it looks like, Chip Roma and Greg Gorski as the safety car comes out. So just in yesterday's race, a relatively clean initial getaway, but then drama almost immediately. The full course caution comes out. And we'll just look a little bit further back in the pack because there's some crucial points that will be gained or lost in Pro 1340. And at the moment, McMurray is second in class. That's good news for Suelio Almeida, who sits fourth. And for those that stuck around for the telecast yesterday and watched the podium presentation, on my rundown to the podium, I had done some quick math. I had missed the fact that it was actually Anders Fjordbach who had set the fastest lap in yesterday's race. I'd mistakenly accounted that extra point, bonus point, and the pole point for this race to Chris McMurray. I thought that meant that McMurray had actually just taken the lead in the Pro 1340 class based on race wins. That's how tight these points are. In fact, revisiting the proper math that was uploaded last night, I can see that Suelio Almeida is still 2 points ahead of McMurray. But as they stand, of course, McMurray would go into the lead of Pro 1340. It's really tight at the top of all these championships. I think, and I'll have to redo this math as the race goes on, but I think by starting the race today, John Field might be the first of our champions. He's very, very close. There's quite a few points on offer, but with John Field taking the green, he has definitely secured a base haul of points, if you will, and I think that will put him out of touch from the rest of his Platinum class competitors. So John Field looking set to certainly take 2 Platinum class championships in a row. But as for Pro 1500, and for that matter, Pro 1340, these ones are going to come down to the wire. Now, Jordan Missig is certainly has done a stellar job. For those that haven't followed along this weekend, Thursday's practice, in the second practice, Missig was very, very quick, but an engine failure led to a small oil failure, or oil fire rather. That oil fire became a little bit bigger, and unfortunately, Missig's car basically, or at least a portion of it, went up in smoke. The team elected that it was too sketchy, if you will, to rebuild that car. And so the local Radical dealer, Radical Northwest, came to the rescue with a brand new car in stock that was quickly delivered into Graham Rahal Performance. Missig, not fazed at all by the experience, the smoke bellowing around him, or the fact that his primary car was now disabled, jumped back into this brand new car. The team worked away overnight. He was quickest in the final practice session yesterday morning. And then it didn't quite go to plan in qualifying. Missig was only third quickest. The track got quite greasy and dusty. There was a little bit of commotion, a couple of spins in qualifying. And so Missig was relegated to third, but in yesterday's first race, he survived all the chaos and drama. Everyone seemed to have a crack at the lead in Pro 1500. Evan Slater looked set to take a win until he had a moment around the back markers, around the Platinum class drivers. Nick D'Orlando also had a chance to win it, but Jordan Missig came through in the end for a fantastic win, soaked up all the pressure, all of the drama earlier in the weekend, and extended his lead in the championship. That is now out to 12 points, and it's just 12 points because a lot of things can happen and a lot of points are on offer, both in this race and the next one. Of course, race 3 this afternoon will feature the mandatory pit stop, and so that will also be a dynamic for every driver to contend with. And I got to say, based on yesterday's performance, my money might be on the 35 of Evan Slater in this one. He was really racy. We didn't hear it from him, but a couple of things loose in the cockpit. It wasn't the nicest of drives he had yesterday. Certainly wasn't easy. And Evans looked particularly racy really since Laguna Seca. And tomorrow when we go through that recap, you'll see why. 3 wins for Evan Slater there. Really was when he came alive in this championship and started to perhaps just match the front runners from the Graham Rahal Performance Series. It is a case of having to deal with a bit of a game of chess out there. Drivers have to contend with cars with different strengths and weaknesses. You could see in yesterday's race, yesterday probably take a chance. He didn't need to, alongside teammate Greg Gorski. In the end, it was a tap and a moment for Slater, and his hard work of getting up to the top step of the podium was unravelled, and all of a sudden, he was relegated a little bit further back. In fact, finished third in yesterday's race. So the USAC safety cars out on the circuit. Hopefully we'll get going green again. We could see the wheel spin. One of the cars was beached, so hopefully they were pushed away. No doubt the other will need to be recovered. But converting his pole position is Anders Ford-Buck. And a very storied racer, certainly brings a lot of experience to the Radical Cup Series paddock. WEC, he's been in the WeatherTech Series as well. Raced alongside Mac McMurray, and is interested to get into these cars with some of the other programs that he's got going on around the world. But Mac McMurray also no slouch in a motor car, of course, one of the youngest competitors ever at Le Mans. And Matt McMurray driving with his father for the first time, Chris McMurray, this weekend. Really delighted to be able to do that. In fact, Chris saying that this is just a dream come true. They've never raced in the same car or on the same, against each other in the same series. They've raced as teammates, but never against each other. And this is a fun experience. Chip Roma does the same with Matt Roma. John Field and Clint Field also have some fantastic battles out on track. And actually we have lost both those Platinum class cars, so you can see the damage there on the number 5 Stella Artois Chip Roma car. So that could have some championship implications as well. Chip Roma was sitting third in points and 17 points clear of Clintfield, who's certainly going to gain a bigger haul than Chip. Greg Gorski was looking to leapfrog up the order a little bit. And unfortunately for him, that won't happen either. So to try and give you guys an idea of that points battle in Pro 1340, with Chris McMurray second and Mac McMurray third. I think there's around about 8 points that separates Chris McMurray and Swelio Almeida at the moment. So plus or minus 5 points is what Chris McMurray would go into the final race in the lead of Pro 1340. But every position, every point, the fastest laps, every point counts at this stage in the game. And it really is just wonderful to see the competition in all 3 classes here in the Radical Cup Series coming down to the final weekend. A dusty ride for the 24 machine, Greg Gorski's Smoke Buddy car. And just getting hauled in here. But that hopefully means that we'll see the lights on the safety car go out at some point. It's still on for the moment. The safety car's got some reasonably serious speed on it as it comes down through those high speed S's onto this short chute and into the chicane that caused a lot of commotion in yesterday's race. Perhaps the hot weather was such that it really it just started to get greasy into that braking zone. There's a small patch on the new pavement there as well. A bit of dust on the inside, but a number of drivers finding it difficult. So the safety car will do at least one more lap. There's some slow drivers and a bit of a concertina here as they come into the chicane. But we'll do one more tour behind the Porsche USAC safety car. And then it will be time to unleash the likes of Mackay Stevens, John Field, Jordan Missig, Evan Slater. So 27 minutes remaining on the clock. We'll have at least 25 minutes of racing as we go back green. Some team managers requesting that the safety car speeds up a little bit, but I can see why they haven't. The pack is relatively spread out. So Ben Blander is right at the back of this field now. He's not used to being there at the 34. But did have to start at the back of the grid. Obviously, he's just taking it easy before that full course caution came out, trying to get through and survive lap 1, which obviously a number of drivers didn't. With the tow trucks coming around, I suspect that the safety car is just, and you can see that lights are out, so that the safety car is prepared to come in. It's just going to be a little bit slow because the tow truck's still on the back straightaway, just heading down into the final corner. But the timing from race control looks to be impeccable. Jordan Missig can only see 2 platinum cars ahead of him. That's good news for the young gun trying to clinch his championship. And I say his only because moving into this weekend, he's the one that can lose it, if you will. Everyone else is trying to win it. Evan Slater's certainly trying to do that. And Slater has been exceptionally quick. Nice young kid. Apparently he's not too bad up in the commentary booth either, I've heard. As much as I'd like him up here, it's far better to watch him out there on the circuit, see what he can do. Of course, Slater and Missig are going to get trounced, if you like, by the likes of Steve Jenks and Louis Schreiber as they come back to the green. So we'll see how this plays out. The multi-class racing will, no doubt, have an effect on the running order. What can they do as they come back to the green flag here at Sonoma Raceway? It's the penultimate race of the season. And the Pro 1500 drivers just trying to keep those platinum cars out of the way. And that was a huge move by Evan Slater. Unbelievable, as Slater tried to stay on the gearbox of Jordan Missig. Slater dived up the inside of Louis Schreiber, and now he's getting held up. And D'Orlando, that's allowed him to get through on Steve Jenks. So there's Jordan Missig in plenty of clean air behind him. It's Steve Jenks who started to carve his way up through the field, and we saw him rise to third place in yesterday's race. He's back in third position for this one. Evan Slater, who was trying to vie for the win, now has to watch his mirrors. It's D'Orlando who's coming through. D'Orlando has been exceptionally quick as well. Jordan Missig, meanwhile, his Graham Rahal Performance teammate, in that white and red car, streaks through third overall. Now, gotta say, John Field looks much racier today on Mackay Stevens. In fact, the gap is remaining very, very similar. Stevens checked out in yesterday's race. John Field had nothing for him. It looks like John Field is studying the data. Louis Schreiber streaks past the 15 of D'Orlando through turn 2. And now D'Orlando will have to do something about that. Evan Slater with a slight reprieve. You can see here Missig's being hunted down by the 68 of Steve Jenks. Of course, not for class position, just for track position. So Jenks is keen to get around the 48 machine to get up onto the back of John Field. Of course, Jordan Missig's happy to have an out-of-class car behind him, playing rear gunner for the moment on Evan Slater. So further back in the pack, Spencer Schmidt's made some strong work in this opening couple of laps, up to 10th from around about 16th on the grid for Spencer Schmidt. So he might be our Sunoco hard charger for 2 races in a row. Louis Schreiber certainly starting to gap D'Orlando. Slater with some pace though. So the front runners all intermingled, and it's not far back to the first driver in Pro 1340 either, the red 1340, and it's got an issue. There's smoke billowing out of the Crown Concepts car. Again, this is going to have championship implications. Anders Fjordback comes through that final turner. You can see there was smoke, there's flames, there's smoke billowing out of the back. And again, we've had something let go in the back of a Radical this weekend with massive smoke now coming out of that car. He's not giving up. And I just wonder if it's a tyre that's cut down. Sort of could see smoke coming out of the left-hand side. It's stopped now. So Anders Fjordbach. No, and the smoke is back. So there's damage, I think, on the front of that car. He's getting a tyre rub. But only in certain conditions, and now slows down. So Chris McMurray will go through, and he's had to accept defeat. Anders Fjordbach, who converted his pole position into an early lead, is now touring slowly. So that leaves Chris McMurray in the lead with Matt McMurray, and then Suelio Almeida now third. As the front runners navigate the chicane, we look a little bit further back, and we will pick up the leaders in the Pro 1340 class. They're just coming through the chicane now and heading down into that final corner. So the racer Race.com car. Chris McMurray leads a pack of cars, including his son, Matt, and Suelio Almeida's right at the back. Meanwhile, we've got the 68 of Steve Jenks. Jordan Missick behind. Evan Slater has managed to get back onto Missick too. So things seem to change quickly in the Radical Cup North America Series. And Missick had a rear gunner in Louis Schreiber, but that has disappeared. Just see them starting to come through shot. Hopefully we'll pick up that battle in just a minute. There's Louis Schreiber, so just ahead of him. Here's the two cars we've been talking about. Jordan Missick, Evan Slater. And I've got to say that it's impressive work by Clint Field as well. So there's Chris McMurray. He's the leader in Pro 1340. Suelio Almeida just behind him. So Suelio Almeida's found some pace. This is what we didn't see in yesterday's race. It was a quiet one for the SimStar come real world racer. And now he's looking good. His championship rival is just ahead. Did Mac McMurray get around his father? That's what we'll wait and see as they come around and down to complete another lap. Regardless of what's happened, Suelio Almeida can see Chris McMurray in his sights. So it is Matt McMurray has gone behind the championship rivals. The Crown Concepts car comes out of pit lane. And that's absolute disaster. Unbelievable stuff. I tell you what, Suelio Almeida has lucked out there. The car 30 has come back out in front of Suelio Almeida, who's trying to take a championship for himself and has got in the way. I don't know if that was team orders, but that wasn't classy at all. I've got to say that was very, very tight stuff. And Chris McMurray has been given a lifeline because Anders Fordback came out in front of Suelio Almeida and still seem to have smoke billowing out of that machine. They have done a repair. Now, you've got to be fair to Anders. He's still in this motor race too. He's got a lap time to set if he wants to be on pole for the next race. But Suelio Almeida has got some more work to do. Tell you what though, he's got the bit between the teeth already. He seems to have clawed back a couple of car lengths on Chris McMurray. And at the moment, there's nothing Matt McMurray and Anders Fjordbach can do for their teammate. Suelio very quick to dispatch the red car. You can see there the gap on screen. Suelio leads the points by 2 going in. At the moment, that would change. It would be Chris McMurray 3 points ahead. So this is what it comes down to, a years-long competition. Almost a master and apprentice in Chris McMurray, the old dog with plenty of tricks, a real elbows out, aggressive racer, teaching this young gun who has been a star in the sim world, a fantastic driver coach in his own right, and putting everything into practice in the real world. It's been a baptism of fire this year in the Radical Cup North America Series. Suelio Almeida has had to learn what it's like to rub shoulders, rub fenders and everything else with someone as aggressive as Chris McMurray. The elbows have been out all year long. You've seen Suelio Almeida just develop as a driver. All of a sudden he's realised what it takes, the grit and determination it's required. You've got to put your life on the line almost if you're going to wring the neck of one of these machines. And Suelio Almeida's realised that the real world is a little bit tougher than the virtual one. And while he's had the pace, it's been the racecraft and just getting the grip between the teeth. The moves that he did in Toronto were outstanding, firing it in, real Daniel Ricciardo-like manoeuvres from Suelio Almeida. And look at him again, right on the gearbox of Chris McMurray. This is 1 and 2 in the championship. They've certainly touched before. Will they touch again? That is the question. I know Bo Barfield in race control will be watching very eagerly to see what happens between these two. There's been some good banter and camaraderie, though. For those that watch Suelio's lives or videos online, you might think that the two arch rivals out of the track, but they actually have a great time off the circuit and have been enjoying each other's company. There's a lot of respect that's been built up between Chris McMurray and Suelio Almeida. And certainly, though, once the visor's down, a little bit of that love is lost. Now, coming through the field, that was Nick D'Orlando, so he's trying to make amends and clear those Pro 1340 drivers. Almeida just having an issue, it looks like. Almeida's fallen back into the clutches of that red machine, car 30 now. So what has happened to Suelio Almeida? He had pace and was right on the gearbox of Chris McMurray, who's gone off the track. This is a change in the lead for the points, and Suelio Almeida is through. So just like that, things change once again in the Radical Cup Series, and Chris McMurray finds himself second in class, and Mac McMurray has a look. Father and son racing it out for the podium, and McMurray is lucky not to have his son eclipse him there. Wow, so just as we thought there was a disaster brewing for the number 3 of Suelio Almeida, McMurray got caught up trying to outbrake a 1500 into the chicane, and all of a sudden he's the one that's now under pressure, and under pressure from losing more points to his teammates. Meanwhile, out in front, it's Mackay Stevens from John Fields. Steve Jenks holds down third place. Louis Schreiber in fourth. Jordan Missig still leads Pro 1500. Evan Slater sits second in that. Matt Roma finds himself in third with Spencer Schmidt fourth. So we missed what had happened to the number 15 of D'Orlando. And Almeida, and so that was more action in the chicane, and that looks like D'Orlando making a move. So D'Orlando charging hard. It's amazing, the front runners, the pace they can carry around that final carousel. Very intimidating corner, no runoff. So D'Orlando now hunts down Jack Yang, who's sitting in 9th. So like we've seen in previous races, D'Orlando, when he's got work to do, he just knuckles down. And I wouldn't be surprised if D'Orlando dispatches Yang quite quickly. Yang has been a front runner in Pro 1500. In fact, he took the outright win at Road America. Very impressive there that weekend. But it just hasn't quite had the consistency of some of the others like D'Orlando, Missig and Slater. Jordan Missig, for those that are wondering, has got about 6 car lengths on Evan Slater at the moment. And Matt Roma's doing a sterling job in third. He's really found himself in some clean space. So the race has just got a little bit of calm to it at the moment. The gaps have just stretched out, and for whatever was the moment in the cockpit of the number 3 car, Suelio Almeida has stretched his legs on Chris McMurray, who has now been passed by his son, and that has bigger championship implications as well. So Matt McMurray takes some points away from Dad. Just wonder whether some of these drivers just get a little ragged and have to sort of just dial it back down and reset, find their rhythm again. The competition has been so strong. Any moment can mean mayhem, and certainly a loss of points. You could see how hard Jordan Missig was working on the tiller there, just through the cockpit safety structure. And Missig, I must say, I'm enjoying the fact that his car's not black, because it's a bit easier to pick out against. Oh, Louis Schreiber's just gone round in the chicane. So Louis Schreiber has looped it, and that is disaster for the 133, or 111 rather. He was sitting 4th on the racetrack. Now, where's Clint Field? Because Schreiber hasn't restarted. And he's just trying to turn himself around. Oh, and this is really touch and go stuff here. Oh, and there's been contact. And I think that was Spencer Schmidt who made contact to the back of Louis Schreiber, who had obviously had a challenge pulling back out onto the racetrack. Perhaps just stalled the car, or was in the wrong gear, something, because that car was not getting away very quickly, and Spencer Schmidt had nowhere to go. Tried to go to the inside. It was the right thing to do. Not sure he could have done much about that, the number 19. And now the 15 closes in of Nick D'Orlando. So 8th for 8th position outright, but that is 4th in class. Interesting that it just seems after that racy couple of moments, and we wondered what would happen with Chris McMurray and the young gun, the Simstar Suelio Almeida. But it just seems that moment Chris had in the chicane, he ran over the gravel, and it would have had to have run over, and we've got another spin. And that's Steve Jenks who's had a moment. So the chicane once again causing all sorts of dramas. But we wondered what would happen with Chris McMurray, and he was looking racy. In fact, he looked like he had this all sewn up, and now he's dropped back again. I just wondered if there's damage to McMurray's car, because he's fallen back behind, well, he's fallen behind Fjordbach, but I think Fjordbach might be a lap down. But McMurray certainly with no pace. Fjordbach, meanwhile, has found plenty of pace and rhythm again with that car taped up. There is no more smoke coming out of that one. So it was definitely bodywork rubbing. And there's the battle for first place in Pro 1500. Jordan Missig looking calm in his rightful spot, he would say, out in front of the Pro 1500 field. He sits 3rd overall. Another impressive performance for these young guns in Pro 1500. They have about half the horsepower of those Platinum class cars, and yet the skill, the daring means that they're driving these SR3 machines spectacularly well. It really goes to show how good these cars are, how much of a fantastic tool they are, a development tool for young kids, and for that matter, slightly older blokes or gals looking to start their motor racing careers. Missig started his life, learnt his craft in the Radicals, went off to do the USF series, the road to Indy. He came back to Radical this year as he tries to put a budget together for Indy Next, got a couple of starts in that series with no testing. Did a great job in Indy Next, it has to be said. And there's a good battle now between Jack Yang and young Spencer Schmidt. And that's D'Orlando going through. But Jordan Missig deciding to come back to the Radical Cup. It was a good place to stay in front of the eyes of the IndyCar team bosses. John Field's just gone for a big lunge. And I just wonder if John Field has done the unthinkable. Just got to wait. No, there's Mackay Stevens. So Mackay Stevens has stretched out his lead. I'd seen a white car that John Field had just got past and wondered whether something amazing had just happened at the front of this field. John Field, though, sitting good, sitting pretty for the championship at the moment. Chris Hinojosa's had another issue, another one to be caught out by that chicane. Jordan Missig is looking to go to Indy Next. He wants to have a championship on his resume. The way he's driven this year has been spectacular. Now there is a debris flag out on the main straight and through turn 1, so I'm not sure what that's for. Now, complexity has changed slightly in Pro 1340. Suelio Almeida now has a hard-charging Matt McMurray chasing him down into the final corner. Maybe we'll see that in a moment. 2 minutes remaining on the clock. The battles are still raging in Pro 1500 and 1340. So Suelio Almeida with an absolute miracle of Matt McMurray as they head through turn 1 and into turn 2. And here we have another battle. That's the 19 of Spencer Schmidt. Corey Nouveau, I think, behind him. So the clock counts down. Chris Hinojosa's just gone through the pit lane. Jordan Missig, a couple of car lengths still that he has over Evan Slater. We're watching this battle between teammates, the 19 of Spencer Schmidt and Corey Nouveau. Jack Yang is ahead of them, and this is a crucial point battle for Nouveau if he wants to get to Jack Yang and take over that gold class top standing. He'll have to get around the number 19 of Spencer Schmidt. Meanwhile, the lights are on the number 3 machine. Just see them further back in that shot. The number 3 of Suelio Almeida. Here he comes towards the final corner with Matt McMurray chasing hard. So there continues the battle for Spencer Schmidt, and crossing the line, Suelio Almeida is yet to get the white flag. The white flag now comes out on the 22 of Mackay Stevens. So there's 2 more laps for Almeida to fend off the Crown Concepts Brigade. Block is timed out, but the white flag is out, and Almeida block is timed out, but the white flag is out, and Almeida has 1.5 tours of Sonoma Raceway. What can he do? He is the last of the late breakers. He's so good. on the left pedal. And that's important because that would put Chris McMurray second. Looking around the racetrack, and it comes down to that final corner. And Jordan Missig has a couple of car lengths ahead of Evan Slater. Trying to keep eyeballs at the top of the track as well, because that battle for Pro 1340 is still raging. Jordan Missig comes through to take a win. Does a little salute to the flagman. So congratulations to him. Another one for Missig. Slater second. Matt Roma third. Steve Jenks has picked up another podium in the Platinum class. But all eyes are looking down through the chicane for the final town. Almeida hasn't managed to be able to stay in check with Matt McMurray. McMurray has stretched the legs on that machine. He looks like he might take his debut win in the series. But importantly for Almeida, this will extend his points haul over his main championship rival, Chris McMurray. And so whilst Matt McMurray takes the win, it's Suelio Almeida who pumps his fist because he's ahead of Chris McMurray. And that was a big day in the championship. All these battles are going to come down to the wire. So our provisional results, just again, Mackay Stevens from John Field, Steve Jenks, Louis Schreiber. And that's the top four in the Platinum class. It was Jordan Missig, Evan Slater, and Matt Roma who are on the podium. Nick D'Orlando recovering for fourth in Pro 1500. And in 1340, it was Matt McMurray who takes his debut win in the series. Suelio Almeida second. Chris McMurray on the podium. And just off the podium, Ben Blander finishing down in 18th overall. Well, it's time to go down and celebrate another fantastic race in the Radical Cup Series. The podiums will get underway. Hopefully we'll be able to bring you some of that action. But if not, we'll certainly be back a little bit later this afternoon. Local time, the final race of the Radical Cup North America Series commences at around about 1:50. So make sure you tune in for that one as well. We'll see you down at the podium. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's time to get the podium presentation underway for the penultimate race of the Radical Cup North America Series. Ladies and gentlemen, join us over at the podium. We'll celebrate. We've got a lot to get through today. The races, of course, are celebration for the season as well this evening. But we'll start, as we often do, with our Sunoco hard charger. Congratulations, Ben Blander. Our Sunoco hard charger. Coming up, Ben. Ben Blander, nice and calm now, but a hard charger on the racetrack. Well done, Ben Blander. And fourth in 1340 as well. On the podium, this is coming down to the wire. Another good points haul, but not quite possibly what he wanted. Congratulations, nevertheless. Another podium for Chris McMurray. Oh, 30. In second place, an extremely important finishing position because he just stretched his lead ever so slightly over McMurray. Congratulations, Suelio Almeida. And Suelio, we might just get a couple of quick words for you because that was an interesting race, mate. You had a couple of moments there where you had this pace, then something, a little mishap or miscue. You had this guy in your gearbox. You found your way through, and then had to contend with a fair bit else out there. But I tell you what, championships are tough to win, and you're finding this out. This is going to be an amazing result if you can pull this off this afternoon.
Yeah, if I can pull this off, it's gonna send a very good message out there. I mean, right now it's essentially me versus three drivers on track, and I have to do my best to use everything possible. Traffic, yells, like whatever on the race start. I have to be very aggressive. I have to defend very aggressively. So it's all in right now. It's the last one. It's gonna matter. It's gonna mean a lot to me, and I'm not gonna give up.
Well, absolutely. I think it's going to mean a lot to this man too if you can make this happen this afternoon. So frustrating perhaps to give up a couple of points, but there's so many points left on the table. This is unbelievable. Down to the final race, 18 races in 6 different locations. This is unbelievable stuff.
Yeah, it's been an amazing season. We had a good run there. We had the lead. Got hit by a 1500 in 9A, which 1500 that wasn't even in the mix. That was a little bit disappointing, sent me back, and then it was hard to catch up. Suelo ran a good race. Congratulations to my son, Matt, for catching Suelo in the last couple laps. That was good, hard driving. Well done.
Well, speaking of that young man, I'll get off his rightful step on the podium because we've got to introduce our winner, a new winner in the Radical Cup Series. Congratulations, Mac McMurray. And Matt, I do want to get a couple of quick words with you too because this is your first time actually competing against your dad. Yeah. So what's that like?
It's a blast. We've done little go-kart races here and there, but never a big serious race like this. So it's fun to finally be on track together in some really fun cars.
And as your race suit does tell, you've done quite a few things in your lifetime already. So what are these machines like for those that don't know? You know, you've driven LMP2, you've driven all sorts of things. So what is a Radical like compared to some of the bigger cars out there?
Yeah, I mean, I've driven everything from GT3 to DPI and LMDH, and I mean, those are all great, but these things are a blast as well. Radicals are a lot of fun. You just jump right in, and they're easy to get used to. They never bite you. They're just a lot of fun.
Well, this is
good
pretty
close racing too.
Good close racing. This is pretty amazing stuff. We've got some story drivers, a young man trying to make a name for himself as well. And as you can see, the competition is heating up here under the sunshine of Sonoma. Ladies and gentlemen, let's give these three a round of applause. Mac McMurray taking a win. Swelio Almeida second, Chris McMurray third. Congratulations, gentlemen. The champagne's going to come in. Swelio's ready to celebrate already. Congratulations. Well done. All right, we'll move on to 1500 and another new face for this weekend anyway. He's been a star since he joined the Radical Cup Championship. Another father and son combo. Fantastic to see back on a podium. Matt Roma, third in 1500. In second place, he's looked fast all weekend. It wasn't quite enough this time round. Congratulations, Evan Slater for EVR Racing. And taking a win, that's 2 for 2. Can he make it 3 for 3? The championship is still on the line, but so far so good. Congratulations, the winner today or this morning, Jordan Missig. And we'll also bring up our winner in the gold class. Congratulations. This is a tight one too in the points. Jack Yang takes a win today. All right, as Jack gets his trophy, I'm going to step up here. I remember what it's like to be on here. It's quite good, isn't it, Jordan?
It feels good to be at the top step of the podium. Again, thank you to the Grand Marine Hall Performance crew building such an awesome car. Evan put up good of a fight here. He kept me on my toes. Couldn't make a mistake, otherwise he'd be, passing me for the lead. So it was a good fight between us two. Good, clean racing between us all. But, yeah, big points day for us going to the championship into the final race. So just got to keep it clean for the last one. Hopefully we can bring it home.
Can you give any insight to what it's like, the trials and tribulations of a season? I think back to things like, perhaps the most defining moment for me was Toronto, where the car tagged the wall. You sort of almost had three wheels on your wagon. You certainly didn't have much of a front splitter or a rear wing, but somehow you found through determination, grit, whatever it was, what you needed to reclaim second and almost take the race win. But what do you need to do to put these types of championships together, and how do you deal with the pressure because it's coming down to the final race?
Yeah, sometimes it's just picking your battles and just knowing what's a smart move, what's not. What's your high risk percentage, what's not. What's going to get you through the end of the race at the end of the day. Obviously the incident in Toronto, we really had nothing else we could have done. We were pinned up against the wall, but it was just kind of feeling the car out and making sure it was drivable. And even though it was pulling to the right quite a bit. It was drivable enough to make it to the end. All we had to do was just survive a couple of laps just to kind of make it all the way through. But, if the car was in bad shape, we would have brought it to the Grand Marine Hall Performance guys. They would have got me back going again. But it was pretty drivable throughout the course of the race, so I just had to drive my heart out and see where we finished up.
Well, you're driving your heart out again this weekend. Congratulations to Jordan Missig taking the win. Evan Slater with a stellar second place. Matt Roma with third. Congratulations, gentlemen. Those trophies nice and high. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a round of applause. The champagne's going to come in. I have a feeling there's going to be a lot of champagne had tonight, whichever way these championships go. 3, 2, 1, let's celebrate. These guys are getting very, very good at the champagne spraying. Keep saying that. These guys are really stars of the future. And in the platinum class, we've had some superstars come through as well. He's been a long-time Radical competitor. He had a little hiatus, and he's back on the podium twice in 2 races. Congratulations. Home third, Steve Jenks. In second place yet again. Congratulations, John Field. John Field, we need you.
Thank you.
And,
These hats are fitted for Louis.
and John, we've got something as well because the points are tight.
tight.
But I think with what happened, and we've got to double check it, you are so close to the championship. Do you know in your own head?
No, I just drive every race. Just go for it.
I'm sort of half reluctant to bring out and celebrate that just yet. I've got to check it. It's so close.
All right.
But John Field is so close to this championship. What has it been like this year, John?
Oh, it's just, it's amazing. It's so much fun driving with this group of drivers, and they're all great people. We go out and have dinner at night and laugh and joke and have great racing. It's a fun series. I love it.
Well, get up on there on the podium. We'll bring in today's winner as well. It's 2 for 2. Congratulations. Another stellar drive from Mackay Stevens. The drivers are on the podium. The trophies are at chest height. They're going up in the air. Ladies and gentlemen, give them a big round of applause. The champagne's coming in. Let's count them down. It's time to celebrate. Congratulations, top 3 in the platinum class. And Mackay Stevens just saying to John Field that he was on it in that one, and it was close. Congratulations, gentlemen. Well, we'll be back this afternoon for the grand finale of the 2024 Radical Cup North America Series. I think, John, it's just on the cusp of a championship. Certainly, it's going to come down to the wire into the other 2 classes. We'll see you back